Hi guys, Guillermo is here. Welcome back to the Revit architectural training tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to use the array tool and all its features. Let's begin. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how to use the array tool to create both linear and radial arrays. Let's first explain the difference between the two types of arrays we can create with this tool. When you create an array in Revit, you have the choice between forming a linear array or a radial array. Linear array, this is where you take an element and repeat it along a straight path. Radial array, this is where you take an element and repeat it around a pivot point in an arc. In this tutorial, I will show you how to create both types. Let's start with a linear array. Let's say we want 6 elements, equally spaced. Now we could simply copy it 6 times. But the scenario we have here is ideal for creating an array. Go ahead and select the object. This is our source element. Now select the Modify menu, Modify panel, and then click the Array tool. Let's take a look at the options in Options bar. Linear, radial array. This is where you tell Revit whether you wish to create a linear or radial. Click on the left-hand icon for a linear array, or the icon on the right for a radial array. Group and Associate. This checkbox allows you to decide whether the final set of elements acts as a unified group. This option is checked by default, and I recommend it to keep the array elements in a group. Number. This is the total of elements you want in your finished array. This value includes the source object in the total number. Move to. You can toggle this between second and last, it's one or the other. Use this command to specify the overall distance between the first and last object in your linear array, or you can specify the distance between the first and second objects. If you do so, all the other distances between each object will match this one. Constraints. This option constrain to the X and Y axis, the movement of your cursor. We have already said we want 6 elements in our array, so go ahead and enter 6 into the number box on the options bar. In this case, we are going to set the distance between the first and last elements in our array, and then let Revit space the remaining elements equally in between. With this in mind, ensure the move to toggle is set to last. We are now ready to set the distance between the first and last element positions. First, click on the drawing area, and then move your cursor to and click a second point to set a distance. The distance between the 2 points is always presented to you by the blue temporary dimension. As soon as you click the second point, Revit creates the linear array. Notice that the total number of elements in the array is 6. You can change the array value anytime, and Revit will add or remove elements as appropriate, always keeping them equally spaced. Change the number of elements in the array simply by entering a new value in the Type in box. The elements not necessary need to be in a straight line. I'm going to drag one of the elements perpendicular to the linear array. Notice how Revit maintains the spatial relationship between all the elements in the array. I've created a step in the layout of the elements, so Revit applies this step between all the elements. Let's now move on to radial arrays. We are going to radial array an object 10 times. As before, first, pick the element you wish to array and then choose Array from the Modify menu. This time you need to toggle the array type to radial on the options bar. Notice that the options bar changes to give you options that are only applicable to radial arrays. The angle you wish to array elements to inhabit, and an option to change the location of the center of rotation. If we take a look at the selected element, you can see that it looks just like an element that is about to be rotated. However, in this case, these control the array as a whole. The pivot point for the proposed array is in the center of the source object. If we left it in that position, all that would happen is that the elements would all be superimposed upon one another, just at different angles. What we need to do is relocate the pivot point. Either drag it to a new location with your mouse or hit place on the options bar and then click in your view to choose another location. You can now set the rest of the parameters on the options bar. Set the desired number of elements in the array, and set the angle through which the array will be created to 360 degrees. This tells Revit that we want the arrayed elements to make a complete circular pattern. After you have entered 360 into the angle box, go ahead and hit enter on your keyboard to accept this value. Revit immediately creates the radial array and leaves it selected in the active view. You can click change the value for the radius if you wish. Also, the number of elements in the array is displayed, just as with the linear array type. Again, just click in here to change the number of elements.